Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy, Mr. Waleed Kareem, aka Mr. Blessed and Unstoppable. I am doing actually a live podcast and also my YouTube channel as well. The Free Will Project presents on YouTube and the Free Will Project podcast on Anchor.fm, if I'm not mistaken. I'll leave the information in the description. I'm doing a part two on how God speaks to you through others' chronicles on my podcast. And unfortunately, my voice was not heard. My sound was muted on my YouTube channel. So this is actually going to be the first chronicle on my actual YouTube channel. So if you guys want to, you know, chime in on the YouTube, leave a comment, man, I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, you guys. So I just want to talk to you guys about how things happen in life that sometimes you may feel led to do certain things. There may be some type of like push. You may feel pushed in a certain direction. And oftentimes it may come through a stranger, it may come through a family member, but it really like it's powerful when you're talking to somebody who doesn't know your situation at all. And it's like they just come to you and bring you insight. Sometimes it's needed, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you wanted somebody to speak into your situation. Other times, it's just a blessing. It just comes out of nowhere. So I want to give another example of how God spoke to me through somebody and how it truly blessed me. This is what this Chronicles is going to be all about. It's going to be just understanding people that you don't know everything and that you need to listen. You need to listen. I've received valuable advice, life-changing advice from homeless people, from drug addicts, from it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't care who you are. I won't turn you away because of how you look. Even a crazy person has some sanity within the conversation. I promise you. I've witnessed that as well. No exaggeration. Period. Maybe I'll share those stories as well. But today I want to talk to you guys about another powerful example of someone speaking. I'm sorry, God speaking through this person that changed my life. So this is what happened. I was coming from a very rough spot in my life and understanding that life is full of new beginnings and endings. Some of us we leave all these doors open. You just keep going through life opening doors without closing them, or reading books without finishing them. You know what I mean? So I was at this point in my life where I could not be that person anymore. I could not be the person who was not finishing my books. So I had made a promise to myself that I would start to, finish everything that I was starting. And at this particular time, I was in a very bad place. I was unlike myself at all. I barely knew who I was. I was so far, sorry about that. I was so far gone that I did not really know who I was. Now, the crazy part about this was that the only thing that I did know was that I was ready for my wife. I was ready to settle down. I was tired of living this crazy, hectic life that I was living. If any of you guys can relate to that, man, just on YouTube, man, hit the like button. Make comments. Put some comments down there, man. Subscribe to the channel as well. But check this out. So I was so desperate, not desperate, but just so ready. You know what I mean? to get with somebody who was just for me, my personal, my best friend, my lover, somebody who I could confide in, somebody who I could be myself with. I didn't have to be anything other than me in front of this person. And I was so serious about it because the lifestyle I was leaving behind was crazy. It was crazy. I multiple, partners and things of that nature. Really no real girlfriend because I had I knew that they weren't the one, and I'm not the type of person to sit back and to claim something I don't want. So I just had a lot of friends. You know what I mean? But here's the bottom line. The bottom line was when I got sick and tired of it, which I did. I got sick and tired of it, and I said to myself, God, what do I have to do to get my wife? Marriage was not a big thing in my family. The majority of my family members, like 90% of my family members, are either not married, never been married, or they're divorced. I think at that time, the only person that was married in my family was my mom, my dad, and my stepmom, and they've been together like 37, 38 years. So I did have a beacon of hope. You know what I'm saying? But I'll never forget this, you guys. I was in church, and man, I was fasting and really believing that God was going to send me my queen. You know, and this is where it gets very, very interesting. A lot of times, you guys, this is my message to you. A lot of times when you're waiting on something, when you're waiting on something great to happen, you'll find out. You'll start to notice how this individual will actually really and truly be the first thing that comes to you will not be the real thing. It'll be the distraction, it'll be the decoy, it'll be whatever it is you want to call it. But in most cases, when you are expecting something big, the first thing is going to be the decoy. And if you are just ready to just jump on the first thing without praying, without asking, is this it? Then you will walk away with something that you don't even want. You don't know you don't want it yet, but you don't want it. I'm telling you. I'm telling you right now. If you've never heard that before, I just blessed you with a mighty, mighty secret, people. I'm telling you, I've seen it over and over and over in my life, from jobs to relationships to opportunities. Keep your eyes open, because a lot of times, especially when it comes to relationships, I don't know if you ever noticed this, but you'll be single forever. As soon as you get somebody, everybody else wants you. If you've ever noticed that, that's one of those examples about the decoy, okay? Not saying that person that you got is a decoy, but it's just the fakeness of life, of people who now that somebody wants you, everybody wants you. You know what I'm saying? But when you was wanting people, nobody wanted you. So let me move on with this story, because I've already wasted some time. Check this out. This is what I wanted to share with you guys. So I was in church. I was at a very, very rough period in my life, and I was dating this woman who I wasn't into dating, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I just wanted my wife, and this person really wanted to be with me, so much so that she started saying that she was ready to get married, and she played the whole game. She played the whole game to the fullest. She did the church thing. She did everything. And at that particular time, I didn't really feel it, to be honest with you. I didn't feel that she was the one, but because she was sounding like the one, she was acting like the one, I started to say, okay, there's a possibility, but I still did not feel that she was the one. I just didn't. And but neither did I with my actual wife either. So let me just make that clear. So what happened was I was in church, right? And this guy was preaching, and he wasn't even from the country. He was from a different country, the whole nine. And he gave this story, man, that I can't. I'm so excited to share with you guys, because this is going to bless somebody. It's going to bless somebody's socks off. I promise you. Check this out. So this is what happened. The guy said there was a story about an African. Actually, that's irrelevant. There was a man. All right, there was a man who loved his daughter so much that he came to his daughter and he told her, he said, "Man, because I love you so much, I want you to have this." And he pulled from his pocket a diamond, necklace, right? Or just a beautiful necklace. Let's not get into specifics. A beautiful necklace. Um, the young lady was so in love with the jewelry that she thanked her dad. She hugged him. She told him how much she loved him and how much she loved the jewelry. Right. So a few days later, the dad came back and he said, I see that you wear the jewelry, all the time. And she was like, yeah, I just love it. Thank you so much. And again, she showed appreciation for it, right? So the dad came to her and said, "You know what? I know that you love that jewelry, but I need you to give me that jewelry back." And the young lady started, looking at her dad like, "What are you talking about? You want the jewelry back? What does that mean?" And he was like, "Look, I need the jewelry back." And she was like, "Dad, I'm sorry, I can't do that." So the dad was like, "Okay." He was hurt because he's like, "Man, I thought you said you love me." So he turns around and he comes like, a few days later, he comes back to her. He asks the daughter again, you know, "Man, I'm here because I really need that jewelry. If at all, if you love me, and I'm going to, give you guys a short version of it. If you love me, I would love for you to give me the jewelry. I want to know that you love me more than you love the jewelry." So the girl looked at her dad and she said, "Dad, I love you. I love you with all of my heart. But Dad, no, I cannot give you this jewelry." And the dad was like, "So you're telling me that you love the jewelry more than you love me, right?" The young lady said, "No, I'm not telling you that. I'm telling you that I love you, but I love the jewelry also, and you gave it to me. So, it is what it is, right?" So the next day, he come in, and this time, he was just like, "This is my last time asking you. I really need to know that you love me." Now it's personal, now it's really, really personal. And he said, "Man, if you love me, then you'll give me the diamonds back. And I, in turn, will know that you love me as you say you do." So the daughter looked at dad. Now she's crying, tears streaming down her face. And she's like, "Dad, I love you. I love you, but you gave me these. Why would you give it to me if you want to take it back?" And the dad was like, "Very well." So he gets up, he walks out the room. He's heartbroken. She's sad. She's at the point to where now she's crying. And she, right when he, is closing her door, she yells out, she says, "Dad, here. Here's the jewelry. I don't know why you need it, but I know that you don't think that I love you. So because I have to show you that I love you, here, take them. This is what you want, take the jewelry." In response to him taking the jewelry, she gives her dad a hug. He's elated to be receiving this jewelry. And as she's sitting there and she's crying, And like, man, like without understanding, like, man, why would you give me this without me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought you gave this to me, so why would you want it back? He took from his other pocket the exact same jewelry, but it was real and it was even more beautiful than the other jewelry. And he gave it to her, and she just went crazy, right? And the moral of that story was there are times in our lives when we have something in our possession and we think it's the real thing, but it's not. The real thing is on the other side of the sacrifice of letting it go. And it was so crazy because this guy who was telling this story in front of the church, I promise you, he winked his eye at me. And at that particular time, I was really going through some things, and it was definitely relationship related. And when he gave that story, I felt it. Like I felt it as if I knew without a doubt that that message was for me. And once he winked his eye at me, I really knew, like, man, I knew what I had to do. So I went home and immediately I broke it off with the young lady who I knew really wasn't supposed to be in my life, even though it seemed like everything fit. I went home immediately and I told her, we was already kind of like on the rocks with it, and she was like, well, what do you want to do? And I told her, I said, look, I'm fine with it. Let's just go ahead and go our separate ways. And we did that. No lie, you guys. No lie. This is a true story. I met my wife not even 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later, I met my wife. And I promise you, I knew that he was telling me. And here's the crazy part, you guys. I had nobody else lined up. I don't operate like that. I'm a one woman man. I don't play the cheating games. At the time, I was like in my late 20s. You know what I'm saying? But I was mature. I knew what I wanted, and when you know what you want, then you don't play when you know what you want because you're messing up what you want, right? So I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, check it out. At the end of the day, I need to have my wife, the real deal. So there was no point in me playing and cheating and things of that nature. So the point that I'm making is there was nobody else lined up. Nobody. Me releasing her was totally believing that I was letting go of something that I didn't need and God did not want me to have. Immediately after letting her go, I met my wife 2 weeks later. And I knew of my wife, but I did not know her. What I mean by that is we attended the same church and we, I think, over a little over a year, but we never said hi to each other. We never, we said hi to each other, but that was it. When I tell you that was it, it was a strictly, hey, how you doing situation. It wasn't no long out. I went to the club or, man, this past weekend I went shopping. It wasn't that type of situation. It was a strictly high-buy situation. I was so intense about finding my wife that I did not want anybody to have the wrong impression of who I was and what I was on. So what happened was it was a situation that took place that allowed us to hang out with a couple from church. And that was like our official date on Mother's Day. And I'll never forget it. I'll never forget, we took this picture, you guys. And this picture was me and my future wife. This was our first date. This was our first time kicking it. And when I saw that picture, I knew she was the one. I said, this is that picture that's going to hang in our children's homes and our grandchildren's homes because it just gave that look of the matriarch and the patriarch. That one picture. that everybody has, and that was that picture for us. And I knew she was the one right then and there. But I didn't say anything. And my wife told me 2 weeks after we started dating, which the majority, because we lived in two different states, the majority of that conversation was, the majority of our phone call was over the phone. And I just said the majority of my phone. Forgive me, y'all. The majority of our relationship was over the phone starting out, okay? And with that being said, I am silly sometimes, man. And with that being said, what took place in our life was she would tell me, I know you think I'm crazy, but I'm going to be your wife. This was 2 weeks into our relationship. And TikTok goes the clock, to make a long story short. We wound up getting married 6 months after we got together. 6 months from not knowing each other at all, from day one, to 6 months later, us getting married, to this year will be our 14th year together. We have 3 children together. We have 6 children total, 3 children together. And I will never forget that person speaking to me, telling me, sorry about that, telling me to let go of what I had because something greater was coming. This, you guys, is how God speaks to you. Open your eyes, open your ears, listen. Don't listen to people who are telling you what you want to hear. Listen to something that is giving you a higher, it's got to be a higher power, a higher source. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't run around. I know people who run around and they ask 5 people the same question, and whoever favors what they want, they go with that, and they won't stop until they find people who want what they want. So how is that beneficial to your to what it is that you want? You know what I mean? Or truly need in your life is what I'm trying to say. As for that person who I had prior to my wife, that person had money. That person had it going on. So part of me wanted that. But in my heart and in my spirit, I knew that person wasn't for me. And things that began to show themselves to me to let me know that she definitely was not for me. And then lo and behold, boom, just like that, we go our separate ways. You know what I'm saying? And 2 weeks later, I found my wife. So I hope this blessed somebody. You guys are awesome. This is your boy. This is Mr. Wali Kareem, aka Mr. Blessed and Unstoppable. And thank you guys so much for watching and listening to the Free Will Project podcast and my Free Will Project YouTube channel. You guys are great. You guys are awesome, man. Talk to you guys later. Peace out.